Welcome to the Healthy Eating Video Log, 188 pages of transitional raw vegan menu ideas, serving suggestions, and recipes. Hi there, this is Alea, and this is another episode of Healthy Eating. And today I want to talk to you about food storage mainly, and what to do with nuts. Okay, so as a raw foodist or a high raw foodist, one of the things that has come up is, the Homeland Security people and, the government and even the survival people are always encouraging us to have food storage set aside in case of disaster, whether it's hurricane or earthquakes or floods or even domestic whatever disasters, that we have food and whatnot available for ourselves to last us several days, maybe even several weeks, up to several months, if something happens that we don't have the stores available. And for most of us who live in the city and we don't have our own garden and we're raw foodists, this can be an issue because mainly we're eating things that are, fresh. They're fresh grown, so we're eating fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and nuts and seeds. And they're all raw. And so if you're without refrigeration, or if you're looking to store things that are not refrigerated, and there's a possibility that you don't have power to dehydrate things or whatever like that, then you have to have food that is safe to eat, but that has a shelf life, a long shelf life. And yet we're all talking about live food. So this is kind of like an oxymoron. So I went through and I looked at my go bag, as my friend calls it, and I realized that I would not want to eat anything that was in there because I put it in there 3 years ago, and that was when I was eating prepared foods or processed foods. And so I had a lot of canned goods. I had canned tuna, I had sardines, I had power bars, I had, I think I even had some canned, like, corned beef hash, whatever. And then I had some of those emergency ration things that are all made up and you add water and shake them up or whatever. So I had all of that kind of stuff in my go bag, and I realized that there's no way, unless, it was the end of the world and I absolutely couldn't find any other food, that I would want to eat that. And also that based on the way that I eat now, if I ate that, I would probably get sick. It certainly would weigh me down, and it would be much more difficult for me to function and to be cognizant and whatnot eating that than if I didn't eat anything. So I changed my go bag. I'm in the process of changing it. I haven't changed it completely. But now the things that I'm suggesting that people put in their go bag, because I had to do some research to kind of figure out what would be the best. So dates, which last for a very long time, just because they're already dehydrated, they're dried. So dates, figs dried, are two things that are fast energy foods. They're high carbohydrate, high nutrition, and they have a lot of the electrolytes in it that our body would need in an emergency. So those two things are in my go bag now. I did have bottled coconut water because it's a source of hydration, as well as it actually can work as an emergency plasma supply, evidently, even the canned stuff. And so I did get the raw coconut water, and I put that in there. But the one that stood out in my mind the most was nuts and seeds. Now, if you are storing nuts, and I would imagine seeds too, but nuts in particular, if you're storing nuts for an emergency storage, do not shell them. They need to be raw in the shells. And if they're raw in the shells, they keep forever. I mean, they keep for years. I had I had some pili nuts that literally sat on my counter and in my pantry for 5 years. 5 years, and I broke one open, and it tasted like it had just been harvested. So nuts in the shell. And the best time to get them, of course, is like right around Christmas. You'll find them all over the place, but they need to be raw, not pasteurized, not fumigated, none of that stuff that they do to them that supposedly preserves them, because if it's that preserved, it's not going to have any nutritional value, really. So you want to make sure that they are raw nuts, but you can use those, and also seeds, and then make sure you have a sprouting kit. It doesn't even have to be very big. A small container and lots of seeds for sprouting. And I would say that, in an emergency situation, you're only going to sprout what you are going to eat, because you don't have a way to refrigerate them or to keep them. So learn to sprout, and put sprouting seeds and a sprouting kit in your go bag. And actually, you know what? It's a lot less heavy than all those canned foods that I was thinking about I needed to have. A sprouting, the little seeds, celery seeds and broccoli seeds, and all the sunflower seeds and all that stuff doesn't weigh very much. It is extremely high protein. It is live food, and combine that with the nuts, and you're pretty set. I did a little experiment. I tried eating it for a few days to see, and I do suggest a Catadine water filter also. I have one, and you can try having a SteriPen, but a Catadine doesn't need any outside power supply, so it's better than than the SteriPen, because the SteriPen works on batteries, and so eventually your batteries are going to run out. So I hope that this has been helpful. Make sure also, of course, that you have your Band-Aids and your peroxide and your all that stuff. But food-wise, sprouting kit, dates, figs. You may put in a couple of other dried foods also, and depending on how savvy you are, you might want to make up some stuff. And if you're eating raw food, chances are, in addition, you're going to have food that you can grab and go anyway. But since the go bag is something that you're just wanting to grab in an emergency and run with, then make sure that the stuff that you have in there you can leave it in there for months, weeks, years, and it's fine. Now, I did have someone tell me that, oh yeah, you can use the seal a meal after you've dehydrated stuff, and I would imagine that it does work. I have not tried it, so I would say test it first before you try it, before you do it. Anyway, hopefully this has been informative and helpful for you. Please subscribe to my videos, give me a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call, 520-360-1294, and friend my Facebook page, like my Facebook page for healthy eating. There's a lot of information there. Until next time, have a fabulous day and eat healthy. Aloha.